Deep delving into Adachi Sakura's character from Adachi to Shimamura. At face value, Adachi is really nothing special. She's your average introverted high school girl, nothing much. But to fully delve into her character, you need to know her childhood, because her childhood played a big reason in why she's how she is today. So as a child, Adachi and her parents never really got along. I don't think we've heard anything about Adachi's father, but we've known that her mother has been there the whole time for Adachi. So her mother, Adachi Atsuka has not been the best mother, to say. Even as a child, when Adachi would want things like toys or want like a snack or something, she would never ask her mother to get that. I don't know if it was because she was scared of her mother. I don't know what the reason was. She just never had a strong bond with her mother. And Adachi Atsuka, for whatever reason, she never thought that it was odd that her daughter never talked to her. She has never made an effort to ever talk to Adachi, and she still doesn't, like 8 volumes later. It's crazy. The only time Atsuka has ever managed to talk to Adachi has been when Shimamura herself had to add herself as a third party into this. Shimamura had to add herself. She had to tell Adachi's mother about Adachi. She had to tell her that maybe she should try doing these things with Adachi. And that is the only time we have ever seen her attempt to be there for Adachi. And I really think that's crazy, to be honest. And at this point, it's no longer only Adachi's mother. Adachi herself has never chosen to make any form of contact towards her mother. This has been a problem since earlier chapters. It's just not who Adachi is as a person. So this chapter goes more into detail about how Adachi feels about her mother. This is well, it's not our main setting. This is kind of a different setting when they're both adults, like later on in the story, but still Adachi has felt the same the whole show. This is how she feels about her mother. So there at last, I was able to put into words my final message to my mother. It wasn't the case that it was too late for it. Hardly. After all, this wasn't something that I could ever have said to her face. We both made our fair share of mistakes, and yet, mother, the future looks bright for me. I'm never going to call you. I'm never going to come visit you. I'm never going to ask you for anything. I'll show you with my actions, not my words, that I'm truly happy. So, although this is a very, very short little paragraph spoken from Adachi, you can really see that she's emphasizing on the fact that she's never going to rely on her mother for anything. This really shows you her relationship with her mother. I don't think it's going to ever get better. This is kind of the closure of her and her mother. I don't think we're going to be seeing much more from her and her mother. It's just not something that will work out. Alright, now that we've gotten Adachi's childhood out the way, let's go to the start of the show so we can really begin discussing her. So after all the events that happened during her childhood with her mother, we can see why Adachi is the way that she is. Adachi is... She's an introvert. She's an introvert for good reasons. She has never been able to truly be herself around anyone, and Shimamura is really the only person who I think she's been able to be herself around. I think Shimamura is the only person Adachi has ever really been happy to be around. Once again, proven by Adachi here. Of all the people I'd met in my life, almost none of them ever liked me. Mostly it was my fault. Either they showed no interest, or if they did, they ultimately drifted away before I could figure out how to reciprocate. I didn't chase them, I just kept on walking. So the problem was entirely mine, and I would probably never fix it as long as I lived. Because my dream had already come true, maybe I wasn't a people person, but I couldn't live without Shimamura. She was a perfect match for my hopes and prayers and desires for the future. She was the missing puzzle piece in my life. I needed her, and I fell for her, and she had fallen for me in return. I was the luckiest girl in the world. In my honest opinion, Adachi as a character is really only her childhood. It doesn't get much deeper than that. I feel like Adachi doesn't really have that much progression throughout the whole entire show. The only times we really see big jumps in progression is the very, very start of the series when she first meets Shimamura. She's known to be cold towards other people. She's not too open with other people. She keeps her distance. She has the delinquent title. Later on, once we see her get more comfortable with Shimamura, however, we see her act a lot more crazy, I guess. I guess you could say crazy. A lot more open, a lot more comfortable. And I feel like that's the most progression we really see from Adachi throughout this whole entire series. By no means is Adachi as complex as a character as Shimamura. Actually, we've also seen her progression when she had her little breakdown that also shaped her as a character. That's when she first learned that there's boundaries that she needs to, not overstep as long as she's going to be with Shimamura. I really feel like that's all there is to be said. Adachi is not a person who has all these relations like Shimamura. Adachi does not have that. It has only been her mother who has shaped her. But yeah, that's all I have for you guys. If I did miss out on anything, I hope I'm not. A lot of this is going off of muscle memory. Not, of course, the whole video because I'm putting, quotes in here, but a lot of this is just going off of muscle memory. If I miss anything, feel free to correct me in the comments so other people don't get the wrong idea. One thing I also do want to clear up is that Adachi Atsuka is not completely at fault. Adachi's mother is not the only one at fault. I do believe Adachi played a part. After a certain point, I feel like she could have done something to better her relationship with her mother and, to better herself as a whole, but she just never worked towards it.